You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back for another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Well, for some people, this is President's Day. So, thank you for celebrating me as a president. You know, I'm the proud president of the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists. So, happy President's Day to me. Because I know no one listening to my podcast, at least those who I acknowledge that listen to my podcast, could not certainly be celebrating President's Day for a current president that is occupying the beige house, I guess we can say. Yeah. So happy President's Day to the decent, legal, dignified presidents, Black presidents of organizations, foundations, associations, fraternities. Happy President's Day to, our General President Lucian Metellus of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Happy President's Day to him. Happy President's Day to, William Briggs, my chapter president, road chapter president. Those are the only President's Days I'm going to acknowledge. I don't know any other presidents. Regina Harrison, president of the African American Chamber of Commerce of, Greater Philadelphia and all that. Her. Those are the only presidents I can think of right now that I feel comfortable acknowledging. But yeah, because I know people are like, listen, we listen. I remember when there used to be school off on President's Day. There's no school off on President's Day around here. Some of my students was asking me that. They were like, "Oh, is there gonna be President's Day off?" I said, "Listen, y'all just had a snow day. I was going for the Grammys. No. Y'all come into class. President's Day is not really a real, it's a holiday, I guess, but it's not like a federal holiday where you shut everything out. Some people are taking out from President's Day. That's ridiculous. See, those are the days. See, these are the holidays. I want Juneteenth off, right? I'm willing to give up President's Day. Okay? And whatever you all want to call. Some people call it Columbus Day. Some people call it Indigenous Peoples Day. Listen. But those type of days, I'm like, you know what? You can substitute that with a holiday like Juneteenth for me. Or an extra day on 4th of July. How about that? Because it's not like anyone I know actually goes to work the day after 4th of July. I mean, for me, it's 4th of Jamarcus, and I don't go to work. I don't do anything the day before, the day of, or the day after. It's a 3-day weekend for me regardless. They better hope it's on a weekend, because if it's on a Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's not even happening. So I'm just putting that out there. But, love is in the air, This was a very fun week. Really the weekend we took off, but this past week, I was in Orlando with Mr. Johnson. We had a lot going on. It was his birthday's tomorrow, but we celebrated our 12-year relationship anniversary, which was the day before Valentine's Day. And then we celebrated Valentine's Day. Everything was in Orlando. We had a great time. We was at Thai Thani restaurant, this Thai restaurant. We came into Orlando, hit it hot. We had a Thai restaurant right the moment we got off the flight. We got into our resort. We have a villa, and that's a part of the Marriott vacation club. We own some stock and some properties with the Marriott Vacation Club. So now we can go to different places all across the world, actually. It's not timeshare because timeshare is a whole other beast, but it's something else that they have. And we've been vested in, and we have some places that we can go to and vacation to. And we can also bring friends and things and do some things. But we are doing this. We're trying it out as a couple, doing it together, and then eventually going to expand and invite friends and things. But anyone who is any of our close friends that want a vacation and things, we have properties. We got some things. So even if you don't want to go to us, if you just want to hit me up and say, hey, I'm looking for somewhere, I can set something up. Okay. You don't got to worry about all the super expensive stuff. We can, if you let me know in advance, I can get you settled. Now, might, be a little something, but nothing crazy. It's yeah, we got some things. So there's gonna be a lot of vacationing. You're gonna see us traveling a lot. But Orlando, the spot we was at, it was very nice. We have a cute little villa there. And we just, it was a nice little getaway, and it was fun. We went to this restaurant called Thai Tanny, which was this really nice Thai restaurant. Food was really great. And then we went to Dragonfly, this sushi spot, which we'll get to sushi. This felt like a very sushi week in general. But it was this place called Dragonfly that was really good. And then we went to Norman's. There's a chef. He's a James Beard award-winning chef. The restaurant's called Norman, which is named after him. His name is Norman. Restaurant is impeccable. It's probably one of the best restaurants in Orlando. Um, just a beautiful place. We was in a really nice area. Um, just memorable. A lot of people like him. The chef that is the chef there. It's upscale. It's a very upscale restaurant. It's in an area called Dr. Phillips is the area. And his name is Norman Van Aken. And he has won several James Beard Awards. And this restaurant, listen, I'm just, I'm in awe. Okay, I'm in awe. Just one of those restaurants that I'll think about. You go to, Dragonfly was great sushi, great. It was a very fun spot. That was a really lovely anniversary dinner for sure. Thai Thani, a great Thai restaurant, very fun. But Norman's one of those restaurants where you're like, Philly, we need to have one of these in Philly. Like, we need to figure this out. We need to call him over. He needs to be in Atlantic City. But this restaurant was very, very remarkable and a very lovely vibe. It just really was a wonderful Valentine's Day night for sure. Just shout out to them. I want to say some things about Valentine's Day. Do I want to take this time now? Yeah, I do. So let me say this, and this may be, I don't even want to consider this an unpopular opinion, and I want to put a couple of disclaimers before I go off, because I do want to go off. I do want to go off. So let me just start off by saying, if this does not apply to you, if you're single, this does not automatically apply to you. But if it lands where it lands, it lands where it lands. I need grown folks, because younger people, this don't count. Adults. There is a lack of etiquette. I don't know what social media is doing to the girls. I don't know. And when I mean girls, that's gender neutral, because the guys are showing their ass, the gays, the they, the them. It don't matter. Okay. I'm not specifically talking about women when I get into this. But we've lost a level of etiquette. And what I mean by that is there was a time where people understood what the tea was and what it was and what it was out. And if this does not apply to you, listen, a hit dog will holler. So let me just say this. Move out the way if it don't apply to you. If it's landing and you're feeling some type of way, maybe you should reevaluate yourself. But I was not on social media that much on Valentine's Day. I did a post when we were at dinner, because when I got up early in the morning for brunch, I started seeing some things on my timeline, and I was just like, you know what? Let me just enjoy. I didn't do too much on social during this weekend. That part of it was this was like, I told you all this is like my first vacation long time where it was not connected to any work whatsoever. And so I just really unwinded. And I'm very proud of myself for doing that. And I'm going to do more of that now that we got some things. So, but I say all this to say, how do I say this? I want to use my words correctly. I want to make sure they land correctly. I want to make sure everything is said the way I want to. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to take the sting out. I just want to make sure that I'm on target here. So, when there's Veterans Day, I remember growing up, I was very, very little. And I remember going out with my grandma. And it was Veterans Day. And my great grandfather was still alive. Neither one of them are alive now, but I was very little. It was Veterans Day. And he served. And we went to a diner. This was like in November, around election. It was, because Veterans Day is in November. Yeah. And we went to a diner and they gave him his meal for free. And I remember being little and I was like, why does he get to eat for free? I'm the kid. Don't kids eat free? And I wanted something. I was like, I don't know. I was so young. And the diner was like, oh, it's Veterans Day. The veterans get, this is for veteran. Are you a veteran? Have you served? And I was like, no, but, and she was like, well, it's okay. And she gave me a free cookie. But I was just confused because I didn't understand. And my grandma said to me, she said, listen, that's Veterans Day. When it's your birthday, you get something, but it is for the veterans today. And you're not a veteran, so don't worry about what he eating. And I remember this, and it was my great grandpa. So I just remember being like, why he get these for free? I'm going to apply this logic to Valentine's Day. Some of you already know where I'm going with this, and some people don't. But I don't understand why, like Veterans Day is for veterans. And as a grown-ass man, I understand that, you know what? I didn't serve the country. It's not my day. It's my day to reflect on those who serve, right? It's not about me. It's not about educators. It's not about professors. It's not about journalists that day. It's about people who put on the uniform and served this country. It's their day, okay? Women's History Month, I don't identify as a woman, is in March. It's for the ladies. As a proud president of Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists, we have a lot of women in our organization. We throw some type of event and gathering to recognize and acknowledge the lovely women who serve in our organization. Okay? It's their month. It's not about me. This month is Black History Month, and I am Black. Okay? And so this is about Black history. This month. Okay, we should get the whole year, of course, but this month is designated, okay? This is a historical month. All right? It's Black History Month. George Washington Carver, shout out to him. Shout out to those who put it together. All right? Shout out to Road Chapter and the Alphas who took it beyond and helped make it a week and then led it to be month, okay? There's some history there, some Alpha history connected to this, okay? In Philadelphia specifically. So Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is a day that is pretty fictional, but let's just say it acknowledges the straights want to say, or whomever, say it's a day for couples to be in love with love and have a good time. It's their day. It's a day for romance. It's celebratory. It's fun. It's capitalism. They market to couples. It's for couples or thruples, however you do, but it's for people that's in love and have a romance. It's their day. There was a time when I was single. But I always kind of had a Valentine's though. Even though it may have not been my man, I always had somebody. But listen, even when I did not, okay, Valentine's Day was for folks in relationships. What did I do? I just chilled. I told my friends, Happy Valentine's Day. I liked the pictures of the folks that had their situations. Some people, I was confused that day because I was like, well, wait a minute. You was in my, you know what? But you know what? It was what it was, right? I can't forget that my freshman year, actually. It was my freshman year that I found out that a dude that I was talking to had a whole girlfriend. Now, to be fair, he was on a DL, but I did not know he was in a relationship. But I have to be fair that he was not in a relationship with me. We was messing around and thus situationship. That being said, I learned a very valuable lesson. Don't get mad about something that is not yours. Meaning, if you have not committed to a relationship with said person, it's not your business. You do what you do. But all that being said, to the single people who like to center themselves on days like Valentine's Day in a way that is just so insufferable, please get a life. Because when you had a Valentine, you was out here in love and happy. Don't be the motherfucker yucking somebody's yam. Don't be the person that feel like you gotta make some dramatic ass long ass post. Don't be the person that wanna shit on romance and love because you don't have it right now. It is okay. And it's okay to be alone. And it's okay to be to yourself. It is okay to love yourself. But don't be an insufferable motherfucker. No one likes that person. And there were some people that you would have, listen, Mother's Day is a very difficult day for some people. Some people may not have the best relationship with their mothers at the time. Understand that, right? And some people may have lost a mother or may have a difficult situation, right? And I understand that days like that can be painful. And those people may take that time to reflect on the motherly figures in their lives. I've had that on Father's Day. Father's Day, my biological father is deceased. My relationship with my stepfather has been up and down sometimes. We all go through it. But one thing I don't do is I don't use that time to trash and bash good mothers and good fathers. I don't do that. I think you got to recognize that, hey, if that's a day for folks, let folks have their day. But I just find it just one of those things where I just saw some very insufferable ass people. And I just, listen, some folks, I would just like unfollow or mute. It's like, how did this become all about you? And why do you feel like you need to justify your entire love life because you didn't pop up with somebody on Valentine's Day? Make it make sense. Is it that serious, grown-ass adults? It reminds me of high school. I don't remember being so annoyed until I was in high school when this kind of stuff happened. But like, we were all young. We were all trying to figure it out. You didn't get a Valentine. Okay. But the way people be showing their ass on social media as grown-ass adults, I just have to say, get it the fuck together. Be an adult. Snap the fuck out of it. I don't know what social media has done, but it has basically eroded basic etiquette. Be a damn adult. It is 24 hours. Let people have fucking fun. Touch yourself, play with yourself, get a vibrator, do what you fucking do, but don't be on people's timeline bitching about why you single or why you don't like anybody or why love doesn't matter. Stop it. Cut it out. Because let me tell you something. Most of the economy, okay, and capitalism, half of it is marketed towards, listen, as somebody who is married, as somebody who's been in a long-term relationship, what I will tell you is that capitalism, when it comes to couples and a romance, barely ever sell and market to couples for the sake of enjoyment that is not in some patriarchal bubble. I will tell you that. Valentine's Day might be the only day or the only romantic capitalistic function that actually sells to couples without trying to sell other things. And I'm going to get to what that means in a minute. But single people, you get shit sold to you every other day. How many singles nights? Okay, how many ladies' nights, single couples, singles, not single couples, singles only, right? Single ladies. You got songs, you got products, you got days. Stuff is marketed to you every other day. This is the one day they say, look, it's for the couples. Okay. And even some of y'all can participate with that, with somebody else's man, a husband, a wife. Listen, I seen it. Okay, I didn't seen it. But the single people want to show their ass. When most of the commercial marketing around nightlife and restaurants and happy hours is sold to you all to go grab somebody. Hell, even cuffing season is marketed to you all. You had from what, Thanksgiving, the end of Thanksgiving, all the way to now to try to find something to get under. And some of you all do. And then when you don't, you want to sit up in a little fucking pound. But see, Valentine's Day is the day when I realized a lot of people that be talking about they so happy to be single and it's so great are lying. That's when we find out who is putting up the funk and lying. And I'm not judging because listen, I have been single and I've been mingle and I have been, clearly I'm spoken for now, but I've been through all the phases. But one thing I was not in all those phases was motherfucking insufferable. Okay? You do not have to be insufferable. You do not have to be annoying. Get it together. Because what I will tell you is, interesting enough, being married, I have felt like outside of Valentine's Day, most of the time, I am being sold things that is like, oh, be a homeowner, family, kids, where are the kids? Like when you're married, most of the time, things are sold to you in this very bundle package. Even when I went on vacation, like they were looking at us like, oh, is this the Owens Johnson family? Oh, is there a we got your villa has a multiple room. I was like, yes, we know. Oh, we didn't know if he was is there any other kids? No, there's no kids. But people will listen, to be married with no kids, oh, trust. And it's funny because it used to be the gays, they never really assumed much with us. But now, I don't know, we done gotten so mainstream that now they think the gays are going to have kids. And there are gays that do have kids. But there was a time where there was almost like no one asked gay couples if they had kids. It was almost like once you saw it was two men, you just didn't even ask questions. Oh no, not anymore. Now they, the days of assuming we have disposable income is over. Now we are going to be that. We don't have any interest in having kids. I think seeing so many children in our lives being younger with several siblings, I'm at an age where my youngest brother could be old enough to be my son, actually. My youngest brother is 15. He'll be 16 in April. I'm 34. I'll be 35 in October. He was born when I was 18. Like 18 and a half, actually. When I was 18 and a half, he was born when I was 18 and a half. So he's technically old enough to be my child. When you my age and got siblings still young to be your own children, it's really hard to envision having children because you just find it's never going to stop. Like I literally was a big brother to a brother who my other brother who is going to be 23. Time flies next month. Like I done went through college and high school with this one. So it's like I'm just like I just see so many young people around me that I'm just kind of like I kind of can't even imagine kids of my own. But also I don't, the way that my life is set up, I just would not want to, I don't feel like I could parent efficiently or give a child as much of my undivided attention with everything I have going on. And I would find it to be selfish, actually. I feel like I'll be a selfish parent to not be able to give them that, given how my schedule is. Both of us are the same way, Mr. Johnson and I. Like none of us plan to be homemakers. And shout out to the homemakers. Shout out to the stay-at-home parents, or the parents who stay at home frequently and raise children or co-parent children. Like I just couldn't imagine. I don't know where I would take the time off. Some people take the time off. I just feel like where I'm at in my life, I don't imagine myself taking that time because I'm really, I just have a certain type of level of passion for my work, and so is my husband. I think we both are. So We would rather, I think it would be selfish to have kids and try to do that to them, with all the ambition we have. We're very ambitious. I don't think we're too ambitious. I think we're too ambitious to be parents. But the thing about adopting is that you can always turn the table when you want to reset the clock. So I will never say never. I just say right now I couldn't see that happening right now. But I say all this to say, be responsible adults. That's all. Now, for my reviews, my bestie, my fave, she just had a birthday. Miss Sharon. I always call her Madam Chairwoman. We had a birthday celebration. We went to celebrate her birthday at 637 Sushi Club, which is by that sushi whisperer, Kevin Yanga. He has that incredible omakase that everyone's been talking about since it opened late fall. I finally wanted to go when the hype died, got a reservation. Me and Sharon had a fabulous time. It was like 22 courses. We were just doing the most. It was a lovely time. It was just great sushi, great bites. It was things in between. It was fabulous. That's why I say I'm sushied out, y'all. Like I have so much sushi. I mean good sushi though. That's the thing, good quality sushi. Like I've been having a lot of omakases. I mean I do like sushi. I do. I really do. And I can't do sushi the simple way. Like I just can't go somewhere and just get sushi. Like I feel like I have to have the omakase situation. That's the only way I'm gonna eat sushi nowadays. See, look at me. Look at me. But it was very fabulous. It is a very nice place. You have to book the reservation in advance. Um, it is only 7 seats. It's very small, but inside is beautiful. You can get sushi outside the restaurant, inside the rest of the place, which I think I want to get it right. 637. It's inside of Yanyanga, which is I think his name is Kevin Yanyanga. I call it Yanga. Yanga, it may be Yanga. Yanga Kapu Izakaya. That's on 637 North 3rd Street. So yeah, I'm sorry. It is the club I was at. I'm sorry. The club is called 637, yeah, Sushi Club. That's the name of the club. It is a speakeasy. It's a private speakeasy inside of that izakaya. But like it's like very like it's inside of the restaurant. You won't know it when you see it. They take you to a private room that's like tucked inside. It's very mysterious and it's very fun. But it was a very good time. Great cocktails, great food. It was wonderful. Also, to continue the love for the Valentine's Day weekend, Mr. Johnson and I went to Ocho Supper Club, which I've been to already. I gave a little review a couple years ago. I think it was like about maybe over a year ago. But Ocho Supper Club is fabulous. I went like over a year ago. There's a Drexel culinary student. His name is R.J. Smith. He was doing these Afro-Caribbean type of restaurants flair at different places. There were pop-ups. And he did a collaboration with one of my favorite chefs in the city, Jameer Wimberly Cole, who used to have the restaurant called The Avery with Chef Montana Houston. Wimberly Cole has left to become the executive chef for Ballers, which is out there near Fishtown. And he and Houston left the Avery. I don't know what the Avery is now. I wonder if it's still around, but it was a very ambitious chef collab, but it's closed down. The Avery is closed down. It only lasted for a year. It is closed down. It was the former Second Story brewery company. It was supposed to be 11 Social. And then it became the Avery. And it was supposed to be this new American cuisine, all of the things. And then it kind of evaporated. It didn't work out. But the chefs, those two Black chefs that used to be at Restaurant Alexander, who I really like, I've been following their journey. Montana Houston is doing private catering for some, for different groups and things. Very talented chef. And he's going to land somewhere very soon. I know he is. Jameer Wimberly Cole has went off to be the executive chef at Ballers, which is that real nice hot spot over there in Fishtown. It's like the sporting club, but he does catering. He does like the cuisine there, and that's pretty good. He worked with R.J. Smith, who is a young rising talent, to help collab. They did this thing called Modern Trails, and it was like these like private like pop-up culinary collabs. Well, Ocho Cinco Club is now at Scarpetta. And this is a big deal because Scarpetta, as you know, was one of the worst restaurants in Philadelphia, in my opinion. Well, Scarpetta has closed down. They're no longer. And let me be very clear. Scarpetta is the restaurant that was at the Rittenhouse Hotel. Scarpetta is what was never a good restaurant. It was supposed to be like an Italian restaurant. I remember the review in 2017. It was called Alpha and Omega Scarpetta Reviewed. It was one of the most iconic bad reviews. It was like it was in Philly Mag. And it was Jason Sheehan reviewed it, and he dragged it to filth. I remember this review like it was yesterday. He dragged it. And I remember just this review. I remember how iconic this review was. He was very disappointed with it. I never forget what he said. The main tagline was, Scarpetta is fighting an uphill battle to make high-end Italian interesting to Philadelphians again. But this fight may have been over before it started. Yeah. He went in. He went in. As he should have. Like, Scarpetta was just not good. He said, this New York chain of modern Italian restaurants may have made a mistake in trying to teach Philadelphians how to eat spaghetti, but the kitchen is very talented and the room is quite beautiful. Well, that was nice of him. Scarpetta was not, I was very underwhelmed at Scarpetta when it first opened. This was in 2017, so it was like nearly 10 years ago. Yeah, he wrote this review on January 5th, 2017. So it's been around for nearly 10 years, basically. I remember when it first opened, and I remember it was like a lot of hype. There was a lot of marketing geared towards it. It's over now. Like, it's over. It's going to now be finito. It's going to be a wrap. Scarpetta is being replaced with a new restaurant. A new restaurant is coming over there. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for that new restaurant to happen, so Ocho Supper Club is going to be there. So this restaurant is called the Ruxton. The Ruxton is replacing it. It's going to be a new steakhouse. And it's going to be called, it's owned by the people, the Atlas Restaurant Group owns the Ruxton. So the Atlas Restaurant Group owns, what place do they own? They own a lot of restaurants in Baltimore, but they own Lock Bar in Philadelphia, and they also own Lock Bar and some other restaurants in Baltimore. Well, the Ruxton is going to come after, but in the meantime, while Scarpetta is out, they did their final service on January 31st. So this was over in January. Ocho Supper Club has a residency in that space. And so as we await the Ruxton to come over there, we have the pleasure and the honor of having R.J. Smith do Ocho Supper Club there in the meantime. So Mr. Johnson and I went Sunday evening, had a beautiful dinner. You all saw the pictures on Instagram. It was sensational. He's great. I mean, I went to the pop-up and I already loved it, but I didn't go with my husband at the time. I just went in general. Fabulous restaurant. Fabulous restaurant. I must say, it was a fabulous restaurant. It was really good. I was very impressed. Just wonderful dishes. The portion sizes, for those who are interested in going, this is a very fine dining type of spot. It was multiple courses. The portion sizes are small, but the taste and the flavor profile is one of those like fine dining like spots. So if you're somebody who wants big portions and you're not into culinary art, you might be a little underwhelmed. You might be a little underwhelmed. But Again, this is for people who are into culinary art. So my culinary art people, this is for you. It's very good. Everything is very good. There are multiple courses, to be clear. But for some people might get a little bit picky. They might feel some type of way about the portion sizes. And I just want to give people that heads up, because I know some people will go, wait a minute, what's going on here? What's going on? What's up? What's up? You know? I don't want people to come at my neck. Because I had this situation one time where folks were like looking at me like, I went to his restaurant. You didn't tell me them plates were small. I want you to know that it is a very particular, this is the type of place that, if you got it, if you eat something, if you eat a heavy lunch or brunch before, dinner will not feel small. This is not the place that you save your appetite for. I will say that. This is not the place that you starve yourself. You should eat lunch, you should eat breakfast before you come. So that you don't feel like, you're like, where's the food? Okay. I want to say that. Now, they had a capace, which was really good. That was the first course. A mole negro, which was really good as well. That Atlantic, it was a 5-course meal, actually. It was Atlantic cod, a jerked duck, and then they had a black chocolate dessert with hibiscus, raspberry, and conquito. It's got that Afro-Caribbean flavor, Latin flair. It was very memorable. I enjoyed everything. Mr. Johnson did as well. But I know some of y'all, when y'all saw those pictures and got my DMs, y'all were like, listen, this is very sophisticated fine dining type of courses, okay? It's all about portions. This man has been at some of the best top Michelin star restaurants. He's been trained. He's very talented, okay? So I just want to put that out there in the universe. Want y'all to know. Don't play with it. So just want to let y'all get the heads up. And then before we get to hot topics, before we get to that, I want to say this real quick before I get to that other portion of the show. Let me just say this. This is a trend I need y'all to kill right now. I don't know who's starting it, but I just want to say, can we just dead this before it gets too early? This whole Caesar salad crave thing that everyone's doing, and I don't mind people liking Caesar salad. It's not a bad thing. I don't mind Caesar salad. To be honest, I actually skip Caesar salad whenever I go to a restaurant. I just find it to be basic, but I don't mind. I'm not against it. It's something I can make at home. I do make at home sometimes. If I'm at an Italian restaurant and it's a party, it's nothing wrong with getting some Caesar salad. But this trend of going, oh, who has the best Caesar salad in town, or a Caesar salad obsession, this is just manufactured hype. I don't know who sat down somewhere, because this is marketing. Is romantic. Let me listen. I used to, when I was younger, I told you I used to do dairy cow judging. I used to be the president of Future Farmers of America of my chapter when I was in high school. I did dairy cow judging. I did a lot of agricultural activities. The scholarship money, baby. We was getting them scholarship checks, okay? So livestock show and rodeos and all that type of stuff used to raise money. A lot of money was in Future Farmers American. Don't play with FFA, all right? Yeah, everybody talk about 4-H, but FFA was better. No shade. We had better jackets. Anyway, there was a lot of money. So I did a lot of work in agriculture. I knew a lot about the USDA. I knew a lot about that. I talked to a lot of folks that was farmers and things. And one of the things that I never forgot doing a lot of that in high school was that there used to be a campaign in markets where if there was a vegetable that wasn't selling or a certain fruit that wasn't selling, the FDA and teams would work to try to create campaigns around trying to get, one, they would sell it low, whatever the vegetable was, they would sell it low to food distributors. So like people that would pick up the food or certain places. And then they would try to find a way to jazz up the vegetable to really sell it, to get it off, to sell it, to get the yield going. And so certain cheeses, certain types of vegetables, certain types of produce, like anything in that farmers have to engage with, they would do it. A brand that never got old that they forced on us is, of course, corn. You all know corn was always forced on us. Y'all know that, right? Like actual corn, which is a hot mess. Like they would find 1,000 ways to put corn and beans, right? Certain types of salads, certain types of salsas. They would try to find whatever they could because there was so much goddamn corn that they would try everything in their power to put corn in something, and certain beans too. But vegetables have become that thing, right? So there's a lot of certain vegetables that are not. They'll find ways to put the herbs in there. That's why arugula is selling more because they're trying to force arugula on us. They're trying to get arugula. Like, right, when you notice there was a trend of arugula, avocados, watermelon radish. There was a campaign to find ways to juzz up watermelon radish, like how to find a way to make it a garnish, to make it into cocktails. Kale had a moment. Kale was a thing, right? But that was because there was a market to try to find a way to remarket that outside of just being what black folks made as soul food, but how to make kale a year-round vegetable that people would buy. In other words, how do you get white people to buy it, right? Outside of just a certain niche. So when you see certain vegetables pop up, um, and they try to market it a certain way, even when it's not even in season, just know there's a market for it. And so whenever I see certain vegetables getting marketed away, like heirloom, there was the heirloom tomatoes. Like that became a thing. Now we are eating heirloom tomatoes on a regular basis, so you don't have to market it. But I remember there was a time where people didn't know what to do with tomatoes that were not red. Like, would people eat tomatoes that were not red was a real question. In America, like US, I'm not talking about France and other countries, we're different. Would people eat purple potatoes, right? That was a thing. Like, would people eat those things? And then we start talking about fingerling and how to cook them and Food Network. Like, all of these places created campaigns to get you all to eat these things. Asiago cheese, because they had to get the peppers. They had to sell some of these peppers. Ghost peppers, all that ghost pepper wings. Have y'all noticed that every year fast food companies are creating a new cheese, not creating a new cheese, but marketing a new cheese to you all to get you all to buy it? Because American cheese is always selling, right? You notice that Swiss is always selling. But have you noticed like all these little interesting cheeses that pop up and you're just kind of like, why are they trying to push this on us? Or certain breads, right? Like sourdough and everything bread, because certain grains and things are trying to find a way to sell them. That's why granola got re-brought to you all. Like, why granola? But this time they're adding different things in the granola, right? Certain grains, because they're trying to find ways to get this food supply revamping. So if you notice, I always tell people, notice the trends start with restaurants, and then it goes from restaurants, and then it gets into fast food. And then they try to make a hype around it. I always tell people don't believe the hype. But I always say that when these things pop out of nowhere, you want to know where they come from. So have you know, like when they do these days, National This Day, that's made up days to try to get you to buy the shit or to market the shit, to get people eating certain things. That's all manufactured. Okay? Manufactured consent. I'm telling you. It's a thing. Manufacturer consent, just saying. So this new thing that I've noticed as somebody who has followed food for a while is this whole Caesar salad nonsense. Y'all, wake the fuck up. Caesar salad, there's not so many ways you can make Caesar. Who the fuck is going to, well, I ain't going to ask that question because there are some basic ass diners. But I'm just like, who the fuck is running to any nice restaurant for a Caesar salad? So when I hear people say things like, oh, so-and-so got the best Caesar salad, who is going to a restaurant for a Caesar salad? Like, I've never heard anyone say. See, that's why influencers, now they've used influencers to push these things. I know they are. I've never heard a person go, oh, I got to go to this restaurant and try a Caesar salad. Who? Where? Wake the fuck up, y'all. Don't buy the hype. Like, there's this trend of, like, I think it's Little Walters, Little Walters or Little Waters. I think it's Little Waters that have this Caesar salad. Now, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I haven't had it. It looks good, right? It's a chicken breast that's a good cutlet. It's cut on top of it. Here's the issue. I'm not denying whether it's good or not, but is it really all that for people to be? Is it, or is it just marketing hype? Now everybody is telling you about how there's a Caesar salad trend. Now everybody's got some good Caesar salad that you must try. I'm not doubting that your Caesar salad is good. I'm just not running my ass down to try it. I just don't think I'm doing all that for a Caesar salad. You want to know a good one that got you all going nuts? BLTs. And the reason why they are putting, you notice that they don't say anything about BLTs any other time but the summer. Why? Because they got to sell tomatoes. Why? Because it's summer and it's tomato season. And all these farmers got to get rid of these goddamn tomatoes. So during the summer, there's a massive hype about tomatoes because of it. And that one place that buys all those damn tomatoes is Middle Child. Middle Child has locked in people. Now everybody wants to do a BLT, right? Because they got to sell those tomatoes. So we get hype for BLTs in the summer, and that was manufactured so we can get rid of those goddamn tomatoes. I get it. I'm not against it. But I just want people to acknowledge when we're being sold something. Because when people come to me telling me, Ernest, you got to try this Caesar. I heard it's good. Please do not market to me. You can't market to a marketer. Baby, don't try it. Don't come over here with that. That is as generic as someone telling me, you know who has the best chocolate? I heard that there's these really good dark chocolate cookies that are being sold right now at Levon. And it just so happens to be Valentine's Day season, but just this chocolate, you just gotta try it. It's a season. They're selling to you. It's okay. Okay? I'm just saying I'm not having the Caesar salad propaganda. I'm not doing it with y'all. Okay? Because I'm telling you right now, it's getting real desperate. Is there romaine lettuce they're trying to sell, or are they trying to sell chicken? Who is selling it? You know what it is? Is the restaurant having a slow lunch day, and they a full service restaurant and no one's going there for lunch? So they need to make some money, so they got to hype up something in the restaurant, some dish. So now they got to ramp up the chicken Caesar salad to get you all to go to the restaurant for lunch, because they're a full service restaurant. Dinner is not enough to keep the lights on. They want to keep the restaurant in full swing. I see this with brunch. I remember the chicken and waffles thing. I was like, what is with the chicken and waffles in Philly? Because first of all, Philly can't even do a chicken and waffles well. First of all, if you're going to do chicken and waffles in Philly, y'all, can y'all please put the bone in? Can y'all put the bone in? Can we do that? These chicken tenders and chicken strips ain't cutting it. Stop putting chicken tenders on waffles. Chicken and waffles was always fried chicken wings, sometimes a drumstick, and a thigh if you was nasty. But if you wanted to do it, it would be pieces of chicken, bone-in chicken, on top of the waffle. And you treated the waffle like it was like a biscuit, like you would have it on the side while you was tearing up the wing. But I don't know what people, listen, this whole chicken strip thing, that's why a lot of you all don't see me. And then let me not get started on the shrimp and grits. You all think you could put 3 little shrimps on these grits and call it a day. Where I'm from, the shrimp was in there like it was gumbo. You paid a nice pretty price, but it was because you knew. But this little 2-3 piece thing on some grit, and you want to charge 30 something, stop it. Cut it out. So there are 2 things I really don't eat on the East Coast. I don't eat chicken and waffles on the East Coast because of that. You're not gonna play with me. I will only eat chicken and waffles. My besties will tell you. Any of my friends who go out for brunch with me, Dr. Parks go to brunch with me. She probably goes to brunch with me more than any of my other friends. I think we always kind of do brunch together. She will tell you, I don't do chicken and waffles. And it's not because I don't do chicken and waffles. I don't do chicken and waffles on the East Coast because I get disappointed every time. I will not do chicken and waffles on the East Coast. I don't even do shrimp and grits on the East Coast. I will not play with y'all. I will do y'all eggs Benedict. Oh, I will fuck an eggs Benedict up on the East Coast. Okay, I will do that. I will even do huevos rancheros, and that's even sacrilegious for me to do that over here because, ain't nothing like a Tex-Mex, version of huevos rancheros. But I might do huevos rancheros, okay? But I will not play with y'all. Y'all will do a good omelet. You East Coasters love an omelet. I'll do an omelet with y'all. But I will not play with chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits because I get disappointed. I get underwhelmed and disappointed every single time. So, all I'm saying is the Caesar salad hype is propaganda I am not going to consume. I'm going to move on. Now, as far as on the record, I did not host on the record, but some of y'all might have noticed something interesting happened. I called in because it was like I had Joanne Bell, the legendary Miss Joanne Bell, who was a mentor to me. She was hosting my show because my flight came down at like 9:45 a.m. And if I would have got to the studio and got settled on all the jazz, I would have been late to record. However, I listened in on the show and it made me call in. And what spurred in the moment was a very beautiful conversation that I'm going to talk more about later in the show. But I wanted to say the link is in the bio. It is a very beautiful conversation that took place. It was spontaneous, but it became something magical. So we'll get to that. Now, for Hot Topics. Okay. Listen, no matter how much Trump wants to huff and he wants to puff, we're not going to hear the end of these Epstein files until we hear them. I will tell you personally, I'm getting a little bored with the Epstein files conversation. I'm annoyed with it because I feel like, look, I want justice. But I don't think we're getting justice here. I think all we're getting is more and more people being exposed. And you know what? I don't mind that either about the people getting exposed. I just feel like I'm at a place where the people I want to be exposed. I mean, maybe this is not for me because I'm not the victim. I'm not a survivor. So maybe I shouldn't even. And maybe not. Maybe it's not even my place to weigh in on what that looks like. So maybe I should shut my ass up. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe what I'll get to and what I will say is that I think it's good that the Epstein files are being released. Clearly, we should know. Right? And, as the author of The Case for Cancel Culture, a lot of people are getting, well, let me clarify. Professors and some non-irrelevant or not as majorly known people are being canceled because of their connection. Wasserman, that big old Hollywood agent, he's being canceled. Good, right? Good. So that's good. I think that there should be consequences. And I think, as someone who wrote the book on it, good. Maybe what my frustration is that in seeing those people, rightfully so, be held accountable and people cut ties with them, right? What is becoming my frustration is the selectiveness of outrage connected to these Epstein files. So there has been a lot of manhunts to hold accountable, professors and business people who have been contacting Epstein. My goodness, I just don't understand why Epstein. I didn't know Epstein was that. I mean, my goodness, everybody know him. My goodness. But there's a lot of talk about that, right? Woody Allen, who should have been canceled. I mean, he was canceled over here. But some of these Hollywood celebrities that kept on to Woody Allen, he was trying to get his child's tuition paid for and shit. Y'all gonna stop fucking with him now? I mean, it was already enough what he was already doing, what he was accused of in his own family. Y'all didn't believe me and Pharaoh and all them, right? Ronan and all them. But now this the time for y'all to finally say, done, fuck y'all. I just want to say that on the record. And I don't care who it is. Some of the people that stood by Woody Allen, and some of them I like. Some of them actors I actually like. But some of y'all who stood by that piece of trash, y'all wrong. Okay? But that being said, I just find it that there is a level of two things happening that's being selective. One is there are politicians, certain politicians, elected officials, that have been directly connected. And we're just not really getting deep into the conversations around that. Now, there is separate from the Ghislaine Maxwell, right? The Ghislaine Maxwell relationship is different from the Epstein relationship. There's been a lot of conflation there, which is too much. And that gets to my second part. But the first part is like, people are playing political sides, right? When Republicans get caught up with Epstein, the Democrats want to play all the names, want to use the word pedophile every 5 seconds, which is very immature, but they do. All right, fine. But then when there's, on the other end of it, when there's some Democrats connected to this shit, crickets. Fine. See where I'm going with this? Okay, so you have that going on. But then there is this element where now there are people that are dead set on trying to connect people to it that is still not connected to it. If y'all don't leave Jay-Z the fuck alone, and I'm going to keep saying this, I don't, this is where I get to the point where I'm like, the same people who was talking up and down for Diddy, talking about, oh, we're trying to take a black man down, are so hyper obsessed with Jay-Z being connected to this. I've never seen people so obsessed with trying to connect somebody to a crime. It is disgusting. And it makes me begin to wonder on what basis, right? Like there's no evidence that connects him, right? But y'all will swear up and down that Jay-Z is Epstein. You will swear up and down that Jay-Z is this person. And I'm just like, why? And I think part of it, in my opinion, is because you don't like Beyonce. You don't like black successful people. You're really jealous of black successful people. And I think that there is a level of people that just have this obsessive jealousy of Jay-Z. He's not a perfect man, by all means. This is not a defending Jay-Z for all his sins, because he has done some problematic things, and he's had to address those things, right? I mean, he's a gross capitalist. That's critique all of that all day. That's fair critique. However, when it comes to this shit, connecting him to pedophilia, all of this type of shit, that's somebody's father. That's somebody's husband. And I don't find it at all okay to just hurl around allegations like that about somebody. If you want to call them a pig, if you want to call them a dog, look, he's cheated on Beyonce, we all know about that. Fine. But when you get to stuff like this, I just find it disgusting, despicable, and unacceptable to just toss that out there about somebody if you're not holding any true merit. And it was very concerning to me when I saw that happen with, Drake and the Kendrick Lamar stuff. Now, to be clear, Drake has done some problematic things that is documented. We do know about them, right? But I think when people get into this business of just like using that term and throwing that type of stuff out there, it just since there's this level of which people just get flippant, like, oh, we could just call anybody this. We could just this is a very strong crime. Accusing people of sexually abusing children should not be taken lightly. And I think I'm just annoyed with how lightly people are using these words and these terms. I think I've had to unfollow people, and I'm not talking about people that I know personally, but certain accounts and folks that I follow on social media that I was like, oh, at one point I found them to be entertaining, but now I've just found them to be reckless. Like, you just can't be out here calling people this. Like, you just can't. And if you don't want to have a moral high ground or a level of decency, then I need to have it. And what I consume and what I support. Like, I'm not going to be okay with people that just out here falsely accusing people or just throwing that around for entertainment, because it's not funny. It's not okay. And somebody's got to let people know that. So that's my thing. One of the things I said on my recent, I went viral a little bit for people was messaging me about this. I said, you can be angry, but don't be evil. You can be insecure, but you don't got to be envious. You can complain, but don't lie. You can be sad, but don't be insufferable. You can hustle, but don't grift. You can resign, but don't cheat. You can copy, but don't steal. You can disagree, but don't be contrarian. So many people out here are asking for grace for doing the latter as if they're doing the former. You got to know the difference. And I think so many people are conflating and projecting. And it's not okay. It's not. And I think we got to get to a point as a society where we got to put our big foot down. We got to, as adults, we got to say, look, this ain't it. And that's not this. I'm looking at Pam Bondi. A lot of people are talking about her behavior during all this congressional stuff. You know, he's been, Trump's been trying to save her, but Pam Bondi has taken the biggest L during these hearings. She, she's an attorney general, and she was at Siege, and she argued with people up and down, trying to avoid everything. She became the angry woman, as the Daily Beast described her. Her competence, she don't have. Trump used to call Hillary Clinton a nasty woman. I think Pam Bondi is a nasty woman. I mean, the way that she did everything in her power to try to defend Trump, girl, ain't enough money in the world. It's given delusion, baby. It's given delusion. Delulu is giving. Couldn't be me. I'm just saying, couldn't be me. Could not be me. But she's doing it. And also, while we're on the topic of Trump wants to impose voter IDs for midterms. I don't want to play no games. This midterm election is serious. I want everybody to have a damn ID. If you got a grandma, a grandpa, whomever you know that's in the South or around, make sure they got their IDs. Give people an ID. Because they're going to start trying to play these games. And we need to be ready. And I'm talking to Black people specifically. Everybody, but Black folks specifically. We are about to enter the Jim Crow era of voting rights. And voting rights we used to have, they might try it. And if you're not in a city like Philadelphia or New York City or a major, liberal city, make sure your folks got IDs. Help them get an ID. Call somebody, work it out. But there are people out here who don't have photo IDs. Now you start saying to yourself, what about driver's IDs? That will work. But a lot of people don't even have that. Some people are not even driving. They might be in a nursing home or somewhere. But I think, if anything, try to get an ID for your folks. Because there's something in me that feels like this is going to be something that's going to ramp up. And I don't want to hear people going, oh my goodness, can you believe that this person couldn't go to the voting booth because they didn't have a photo ID? They're already starting this shit. And they're going to test it out with this midterms. And the next thing you know, we're going to be at the general election in 2028, and we're going to hear the same shit. Let's get it now. Let's start doing it right now. So I did a call with some folks that I know in my circle, even in my fraternity, some older people, and said, listen, do you have a photo ID? Did you renew it? Let's renew it. Get a real ID, matter of fact, because listen, that's out now. While I was at the airport this weekend, let me tell you something. It ain't no joke. They're not playing with that real ID. They like, if you don't got a real ID, you better have a passport. And I need to say this is my little gripe. If you don't got TSA pre-check, stop trying to get in line and cut. There was a woman who I was in the TSA to get to TSA pre-check. This woman bogarted me so bad to get in this line, to try to cut the line and think she can slide in. Only for us to get up there. And they told her, ma'am, you don't have TSA pre-check. And she's like, oh, I know I do. They said, ma'am, it's not showing up. It does not show up on your boarding pass. Because nowadays, we mobile. If you have TSA pre-check, it will show up on the boarding pass. This woman, and you know what she was, y'all. Y'all know it was Karen, honey. Karen was at that front. And she just wanted to argue. They told her, ma'am, I said, if you don't get the fuck out the way, let a real bitch go through. Let me tell you, the woman cut me, telling me, oh, I need to get through, I got to get in for my flight. I try, I believe in karma, so I'm nice. I let her cut because I was like, you know what? She got to get to where she's going. But she was kind of rude. But I said, you know what? It is what it is, lady. Go ahead. Just go ahead. I ain't trying to play with somebody in their flight because you never know. First of all, I'm not that girl anyway, but just never know. You never know. So I let her get ahead. only for her ass to get up there and try to argue with the TSA guy. He's like, ma'am, you don't have TSA pre-check. She's like, but I have this long flight. Can I, like, ma'am, no. That's not how it works. She had to go all the way to the other line. Man, listen. All I'm saying is, get you a real ID. Get TSA pre-check if you somebody who's going to be late. But there was another situation. Somebody else showed up. That they were not in front of me. They were behind me. But I was seeing a situation, a little dust up. This woman had an ID. She didn't have a real ID and she didn't have a passport. It was chaotic. She was screwed. Screwed. She didn't have a passport with her. Now, I keep me a passport ID. I did that with my younger brother. When I got him a passport, I got him a passport ID. Because I know what he had going on. I said, listen, the passport ID will let you in no matter what. Some of you all, get you a passport. If you don't got a passport, you don't want to carry your passport outside, carry your passport ID. That's a real cool way. People say, why does a passport ID matter? One, I don't ever like to carry my passport with me. I don't like to use my passport with me physically. I'm in favor of passport IDs because of shit like this real ID shit. Anytime they change shit up. Also, it's what I consider my United States ID. Also, if you ever get in a job and you want to, they make you bring documents and things. They make you bring a state ID and they make you bring a federal government document. If you don't want to carry your birth certificate around or carry a physical passport, the passport ID is in lieu of that. So that is in lieu of the birth certificate. If you ever get a job or something. Fun fact. I just want to put y'all on some game. That just came to me. Something told me share this information with folks. The passport ID is good. So if you're ever renewing your passport or need to renew your passport, go ahead and get your passport ID. It's only like $60. Go ahead and get it because that will come as a substitute. Now, let me be very clear. A passport ID does not substitute an actual passport when you're traveling abroad. However, it do come in handy if you're going to Puerto Rico or you're going to Guam or any U.S. territories that's outside the continental U.S. Also, it comes in handy in lieu of a passport so that when you need a job or you need to show proof of ID or you're in a situation where an ID might change or you might lose your state ID or you might forget it, it comes in handy for situations like that. So I'm putting you on game. And nowadays, when people want to check U.S. citizenship, child, that U.S. passport comes in handy. Passport ID comes in handy. Just saying. State IDs. I'm just saying. So moving along. The Democrats, there's a lot going on. Obama did this really fun interview on this podcast. He says he believes aliens are real, but they're not in where's that place? Area 57, 50. They're not in Area 51, which is that air base that's in Lincoln County, Nevada. The aliens are not there, he says. But he does believe that aliens do exist. I'm just going to leave that there. It's a lot going on right now within the Democratic base. And I don't know if y'all follow what's going on in New Jersey, but Analia Meheje, I might be butchering her last name. She's a political organizer. She's a progressive. She beat her main opponent in New Jersey, Tom Malowinski, by a narrow margin after he was battered by some negative attack ads by AIPAC. This was a massive upset. This is sending shockwaves right now because AIPAC came after Tom Malowinski, which was a better Democrat than this progressive. A lot of people do not think Analia Meheje, who is very progressive, okay, who is actually driving AIPAC crazy. They don't like her, but I don't think they thought she was going to have a chance of winning. And so they put their energy going after Tom Malowinski, which has been a more moderate person for them, but I guess they were upset about him and they put their money to go against him, and now he's lost. So this woman is now going, she's now going to Congress. There's a good chance that she's going to go to Congress. And it's crazy that this was a seat that she is with. She led New Jersey's Working Families Alliance in 2019. She had a narrow lead when it was a close vote, but she's won. And this is the seat, that was the primary. This is the former seat in the House. This is Mikey Sherrill's former seat in the House. Because, she's now the governor of New Jersey. So now that seat's vacant. Well, now Amalia Mahedje is getting the seat. And this is wild because no one saw this coming. No one saw this coming at all. It's interesting because a lot of energy was going for other folks in that race, but not looking good. Not looking good. AIPAC spent all that money. She had a hard-won victory. So, I don't know, AIPAC. Y'all fucking up. I mean, in more ways than one, but my goodness. Also, New York Times did a big story about, Shapiro and Fetterman, how they don't get along and how their bad blood has been going on for years. They had some very big differences related to the pardon board, which I'm going to say I support Fetterman, what his work was on the pardon board, but they've had years of tension since then. A lot of different issues. They've disagreed on some other issues. The big one, notably, was when he did not support Shapiro vice presidential bid. And so a lot of people are talking about that, and that's become news. New York Times did a whole story on it, which is telling about their beef. Very telling. But the big thing I want to note is that there is a mass exodus that is happening in Congress. And a lot of people are talking about it. 63 lawmakers have already indicated that they are not going to seek re-election. Okay? In the House, the number of retirement announcements hit 54 in the House. This is the highest number since 1992, a year after I was born. In the Senate, 9 incumbents are leaving, which is the highest, the highest since 2012. Now, this is a big deal. A lot of these people are Republicans, but it's also Democrats. We're seeing a lot of this. And a lot of this, there's some major reasons why, right? A lot of these lawmakers are scared. A lot of them are scared. Representative Jared Golden, he's that Democrat congressman from Maine. He's getting threats. He's a Democrat and he's leaving. He spent Thanksgiving in a hotel room with his family because of the threats against his house. Right? So it's not just Democrats and Republicans. I mean, we're seeing it even with governors, like Governor Walz, who's a Democrat, in Minnesota. He's not running for re-election. We're seeing what's happening with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She left, which was a moment. Then you had, Dan Newhouse, another one who left, which was very telling within itself. He voted to impeach Trump and said he's retiring now because of the controversies. Him and Newhouse are very different in their politics, but they both are critical of Trump. So there's a lot of fear around Trump because he still holds some sway. There's also a lot to deal with age. Nancy Pelosi's leaving, Steny Hoyer, Dick Durbin, Jared Nadler. Like in 2012, I remember a lot of these people. I remember Nancy Pelosi. I remember Steny Hoyer. Like, he was a big deal. Leaving. And a lot of this has to do with Biden, I think. I think a lot of them are leaving because of that. Maxine Waters in California, she's in her 80s or late 70s. Late 70s, early 80s, about to be in her 80s. She's staying on, but she's being challenged. But she wants to hold on to her congressional seat. I think she's like 79 years old. She's still holding on. And also, some of this is just, in general, Congress is just so ratchet now. There's so much dysfunctionalness. There's so much dysfunction. So it's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on. It's better than people like, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who talked about he snorted cocaine off of a toilet seat. while he's trying to promote his what they call it, MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, which that movement is wild. I've been reading it lately, just reading up on it, trying to figure out what's going on. Some of it I agree with, some of it I don't. I won't give them too much credit. I do I do care about food quality. I am that person. I do care about food quality. But some of this shit is just asinine, to be honest. Some of it is just asinine. I ain't gonna hold you. Some of it is just a little bit like, for real. But I digress. A lot of you was asking me, I've been following presidential races a little bit. A lot of y'all asked me about AOC. What do I think about AOC running for president? Too early. I'm not entertaining that. Here's my mindset. If y'all wasn't gonna give it to Kamala, y'all damn sure not gonna give it to AOC. I'm just gonna leave it at that. If AOC, if Kamala can't get it, why do you expect me to believe that AOC is gonna get it? If Bernie Sanders couldn't get it, what makes you think I'm gonna believe that AOC is gonna get it in this country? I like her. I really do. I do. I like her positive. I like that she stands on business. I can appreciate that. But I'm not about to drink the Kool-Aid with y'all. I'm not playing with y'all. We just gonna move on to the next topic. We're just not gonna even entertain that. And there's no shade to her. She's sweet. She's bright. She's got a great political future. I can see her advancing, maybe in a Senate seat. Why not take your AOC to Senate? Let's see what Senate gives her. But to just simply try to entertain president right now, this is an unserious ass country. But then again, you all looking at me and saying, well, why? Well, Donald Trump was able to do it. Again, this is a very unserious ass country. We're going to move along. So, our media world is in shambles. There's no other fancy way to say it. Our media world is in shambles. And it's hard to watch, to be honest. AI is everywhere. And I feel like I say this, but it's so annoying. Like going down my timeline now. Listen. This is a we listen, we don't judge moment. But I like to watch Ratchet. I like to watch a couple of Ratchet things on my timeline. I have, me and my friends, some of our pastimes is that we just send each other things. Now, people send me stuff all the time on DMs, and I get so fucking annoyed. I ain't gonna hold you. It is like stuff that's like, those people. They send me stuff. I'm like, this is not funny to me. And why are you sending this to me? We don't have this kind of relationship. Don't send me this. We're not, like, I just feel like DM, like, it's one thing to DM a person. Like, when you DM people you don't know, I don't know why people do that. Like, I don't DM people I don't know. Now, it's one thing, I get it, I'm a journalist, so you might want to DM me something related to news. Like, hey, tell me something, whatever. I get that, that's fine. But there are some people that have like these like pseudo relationships. Now, some folks I do enjoy conversing with, and it's respectful and it's cool and it's chill and there's nothing with it, right? But there's some people that are like far out of the universe where I do not know them. I don't know if they listen to my podcast. I don't know if they read my articles. I don't know how they know me, but they'll just come in my DMs and they'll just say all kind of things. Okay? You get three types of people like this. You get the person that's either one, flirty, because I don't know, everybody think gay people are in these like polyamorous relationships or open relationships, and I have to tell people every other month, no. And also, you think I'm gonna respond to a DM? So you got people like that who just this. There are people that really think this, and it's always. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna name some names. No, I'm not gonna name names. Let me calm down. But it's always like the older churchy type men. It's always these older churchy type men that be like son of God, proud husband type men. It's never like them be the ones, and they be like late at night, looking sharp, thanks, or thumbs up, or I don't respond, whatever the case might be. Depending, I try to be nice, because y'all will be like, oh, every time I get a message, if it's a nice compliment, I always give it a heart or a thumbs up and say, thank you, I appreciate it. That is my general mode, because I don't want people to act like, oh, he a bitch. Listen, But then you get the weirdness. It gets real creepy. So you get the creeps. You get people like that. Then you get the people who are just emotionally dumping. Like they tell you some shit about their life and you be like, or they try to lure you. Can I ask you a question? No. I hate when people do that. Don't ask a question with a question. If you're gonna ask, you might as well just go. The trap, the baity, emotional dumping types that will tell you some stuff that's like, what do you want me to do? Okay? Too much. And then you get the people that come to you with let me put this category, emotional dumping. It's the white people that feel so helpless in the world and they want to ask you what they can do to solve their white guilt. Or you get the person that's telling you about some personal crisis and they think you're a social worker and they think you're somebody who can get into it. I'm not a social worker. I am not an attorney. I'm not a private investigator. I don't know what to do here. Like, you get people that put you, that I call this the trauma group. So you got the creeps, the emotional dumpers, and then that third one is what I call the too close for comfort. People who talk to you in a way where they want to give you some advice, they got some opinions, they want to, hang out with you. You're your best friend, the parasocial relationship type. That person will be the person where they'll see you wear something and they'll give you their opinion and you didn't fucking ask for it. I remember when I was much heavier, there used to be people that would say to me, "Oh, you will look good with this if you lost a little weight. I can see you." Bitch, I was not asking for your opinion. I didn't ask you what like what? Where people get too comfortable. You use too much profanity. I don't like that. Fuck you. How about that? Like, I used to get annoyed with that. And there were times where it would just be too much. I remember when I was gaining weight, when I was going through my phase of time where I was a food editor. And somebody was saying in the comments one time, and it was messaging me, "Oh, you putting on them pounds. You got to slow down with all that eating." The fuck? Like, first of all, who are you? Second of all, we don't do that. So I literally messaged them back and said, full stop. We're not discussing my body. Please be respectful. And they were like, "Oh, I didn't mean any harm. I just was concerned about your health." I don't need you to. Thank you. And I got real cold back. Like, respect people's body. Respect people's, like, I don't play that. Like, it's just too much like, people get a little too comfortable online. But now I'm noticing this trend where, again, in the comfort direction, where people are sending me videos and sending me things and like, "Oh, I want to know what your thoughts on that." No, I'm not sure. Like, what? "Oh, I was waiting for you to say this. Looking forward to hearing what you got to say about this." The fuck? Am I your personal assistant? We're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. No. I'm not waiting for random people to message me things. Now, if you are showing up in a very, a certain way, is this a certain style? But don't give me labor and tasks. Don't. 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 If we don't know each other like that. You know what I'm saying? There are some people where a relationship has blossomed from the DMs to real life. And there's only some people that has happened with. And it's not going to be with everybody. Because trust me, at this point, too many creepy people out here. I'm just going to keep it where it's at. But there's some people where they just really, I just saw what they would do. It just vibe. It was in certain circles. I was like, "I like you." She knows who she is. But some people, it's just not like that. Because y'all just weird. Some folks are just weird. And so the weirdest thing's been happening lately is, like, I say all this to say that my friends and I, lip brothers, a couple of us, we send each other videos and things. I typically am into, like, ratchet things, fights, weird things that I will never retweet or share publicly, but stuff I see on the internet. I like a good old fight video. Now, you just be like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe this happened." That kind of thing. But I like silly shit. like my DMs typically are silly. Like there's some serious stuff, but then most of the time, if I'm with my friends, it's nothing really serious. Like we're talking on the phone. We're having conversations in person on the phone. We're having real deep conversations together at dinner or on the phone. Or we might text each other on my text phone. But we don't play on these social media games. If you go on my Facebook Messenger or whatever, Instagram, whatever the shit, it is very much a bunch of memes and silly videos and laughing at stupid shit that people are doing online. It is never deep in personal conversation. We don't trust it. We're like we gangster. We on the phone or we in person. Okay, we're just not going to do the whole. Yeah, we just don't, and I think that's smart. You know. You might say your friend in DM, "Oh, we gotta talk about that when we have dinner." I won't ever put all the tea in the group chat. Not on a Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger. Absolutely not. In a world where people get their phones hacked, folks screenshot. I had a very random situation happen to me a long, long time ago. Actually, I was in high school. This book. Okay, I'm old now. We all grown now. It was my senior year in high school. I was 18. And I was talking to this boy. He went to another high school. We was texting. I did not know he had a boyfriend. Let me just say I did not know. Because we wasn't in the same high school. I mean, we were in like 2 different high schools. Now, Jamarcus is listening to this and he remembers this very well. I'm not going to get into all the details. All I will say is I messaged that boy. That boy and me would message each other. And I sent him some things. Now, let me just be very clear. My face was not on anything. I knew very young, at a very young age, no face, no trace. However, I sent him some things. But no face, because we don't do that. You got to see that in person, baby. I sent him some things. The boyfriend went into his phone. I don't know if it was screen grab or screen. I don't know if they called it screenshots back then. I don't know what they called it. But he took pictures and sent it to himself. And circulated around school. Sure did. And so my mindset is that in an era where clearly the boy did not want anyone to know about it. Clearly we was on the low. I didn't know that, I mean, I was in high school, so I wasn't, I was a little bit more discreet back then. I just denied everything. Let me just start off by saying I denied everything. I was like, that ain't me. That ain't, period. Okay? And in many ways, there was no way to prove if it was or was not. Let's just say that. Unless you've been in my bed. Now, my ex at the time knew that this was bad, and it wasn't a scandal. It was slightly a little scandalous, but he knew for a particular reason. But he didn't see his ass. But he was there for me during that time. We don't talk as often or anything, clearly, but like I think I talked about him a couple episodes back. That guy I talked about a couple episodes back. This is the same guy. He held it down for me. He did. I was really nervous. I was applying to college. I didn't know what, but it never blew up like that, to be honest. Like even my parents, I don't even think to this day, my parents don't even know about that shit. They don't even know about it. It never got to that point, clearly. But he knew, because he knew my body. He told me, listen, what happened to you is fucked up. I'm hoping you're okay. Like, I'm there for you if you need me. And I definitely leaned on his shoulder and a couple other things at that time. But anyway, but I made it through. But, when I hear about revenge porn and all those kind of things, I will never, it's a cold place in hell for people that do that to people. I just think you downright dirty. And the boy in question who I was dealing with at the time, fuck him for not telling me he had a situation. I always tell people, you got to tell people You gotta give people a choice. Me and my, she know, I ain't even gonna name. Me and a homegirl had dinner. She know who she is. I ain't gonna get into specifics, but cause that's a little, cause too many people listen to this show. But text me when you hear me say this, girl. You gotta give people a choice, right? We had dinner and we kikied about something. I ain't gonna get into names and all that. But you gotta give people a choice. You gotta give people a choice. She know what I'm talking about. Cause she'll text me. She'll be like, clue word. We had pasta and talked about over pasta on a Friday night a couple of weeks ago. That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm talking about, girl. You agree with me too. But you gotta give people a choice. You gotta give people a choice. I gotta say, you gotta give people a choice. Some people are down with it. Some people are not. I was not given a choice. Because if I was given a choice, I would not have done it. That's all I'm gonna say. But I digress. The fight videos that I watch online or the other silly videos, shit has gotten so fake on the internet that now people are making AI videos of fake fights and fake instances not even real. And I'm just irked at this point. There's no fun. There's no fucking fun. Like, I remember there was so much, the world was so wild that you could videotape something crazy happening and be able to. Now, there's a video that is circulating right now of a woman getting jumped at a nail salon. Now, that is the most ratchet video I've seen in some time. First of all, I don't support jumping in videos. Don't jump, okay? Don't jump. One-on-one. Line up. Single foul line. Line it up. I'm just really irked that they jumped this person. Like, I was like, you know what? Flag on foul. But it was a lot going on. Anywho, all that being said, there are some AI videos out here, and I'm just like, why do we got an AI? Like, we're just creating mass hype and hysteria. People are like getting emotional and arguing over shit that's not even real. Like, I'm so sick of these Diddy videos. I'm so sick of them. I'm so tired of these videos trying to link people with people, like trying to create conspiracies. They're fake. Everybody want to share them. Like, I'm just so I cannot wait for somebody to sue these sites. Sue chat AI. I'm ready for the lawsuits. I'm ready for the people to say they've been impacted, and I'm ready for the massive lawsuits. Drain them dry. Stop giving them fucking money. Stop investing into AI. Stop it. We got to kill them. We got to kill the site. End it. But anywho, with media changes that's been going on, outside of just that, Olympics. Is anybody watching the Winter Olympics? Is it just me or I've been bored? I haven't been watching it. I rarely watch the Olympics, but Winter Olympics, I've not been watching. Yeah. Samantha, as of the recording of this podcast, Samantha Guthrie's mom is still missing. It's been 2 weeks and she's still missing. Y'all, it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks. I'm just going to say in a very tactful way, do y'all think that she's still alive? Something about this is not clean in the milk. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but this just all seems off. You know it's serious even when a white woman can't be found. Dead or alive. We don't even know where she's at. 2 weeks and we can't find this woman? I mean, high profile. Nally Holloway, we found her. Like, we find people. Elizabeth Smart, we know the Elizabeth Smart story. Remember that Elizabeth Smart? Like, I know missing white women, child. This is crazy. Nobody know where she at. Then there's these ransom letters and shit. People keep getting arrested, though. They keep arresting people and releasing people and shit. Damn Uber driver then got caught up in shit. They like, I knew when they took him, I said, he ain't got nothing to do with it. Let that man go. Let him go. He looked so scared for his life. Got dragged down to the press. You know what I'm saying? Like, wild. Very wild. And then before I move on to local politics, because we got a lot to talk about over there, I just want to say that you all know how I feel about Uncle Nearest, and y'all know how much I'm a big fan of Fawn Weaver and that family, Victoria Butler, the whole family, okay? I'm a big fan. Y'all know I love me some Uncle Nearest. Y'all know I love I love my people. I just need to say for the record, that a lot of people need to get real about where we are right now with that situation. We got to, because there's a lot of stuff that has been said, and it's just, it's not sitting. The math is not mathing. There's just a lot of things being said, and I just need some clarity. I personally need some clarity. Um, so I read the New York Times feature story about Uncle Nearest. What's going on with the business? A lot of people are asking me, well, what's happening here? I'm gonna put this in a nutshell. Somebody said this online, and I think this is what it really boils down to, right? Uncle Nearest failed to make the timely payment of a $100 million line of credit. They had a $100 million line of credit that they were given. The creditors tried to work with them to restructure the debt for a couple years, but to no avail. Okay? Then the courts had got involved, and it was put under a receivership. Now, the first receivership report stated that it was financially strained, the company was, but was optimistic about the company rebounding. Now, the second receivership report is stating that after further review, the company has more financial issues than they originally thought. So now the ball is in Uncle Nearest's court to refute the findings of the latest receivership report. Now, I'm rooting for Uncle Nearest. I think there's a lot of issues. I think there's a lot of double standards happening with them. But I'm looking at some of the way that the CEO, Fawn Weaver, who I do like, has been responding and kind of talking about this. And I just feel like there's a level of overconfidence that makes me feel like there's no inflection. Like there is a performance of everything's okay, everything's good, and very like no acknowledgement, no accountability, no ability to admit, hey, there might have been something we could have did a little bit better here. Just a very overly confident like refute. And here's the thing. I'm all about, exuding confidence and not making people panic. But when things are just consistently coming back, nada, you got to take a moment to put some things in some full circle and come back with a level of clarity and optimism, but also some self-reflection that will give people a better scope. I'm going to tell you that I'm optimistic about them, but I'm also a little peeved because I do think people really want to know what's happening here. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah. It's a lot here. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. So the reason why I bring this up is that there was a situation recently, and I want to talk about this because a lot of y'all messaged me with y'all messy asses. Did I see this article that was in Philly Mag? And I want to start off by saying, yes, I seen the article. You're saying, what article are you talking about, Ernest? The one that Adam Silver wrote. Adam Silver, I think that's his name. He is the former co-founder of Rec Philly. He wrote an op-ed. He wrote an op-ed. I don't think his name is Adam Silver. I think it is. Wait a minute. It's not Adam Silver. I think it's Dave Silver. My bad, Dave Silver. He wrote a piece for Philly Mag called "Thank You, Philadelphia: What Building Rec Philly Taught Me About This City." He talks about how Rec Philly may have closed its doors, but its co-founder Dave Silver still believes the best is yet to come for our city's immensely talented creatives. A lot of people got in the comments kissing his ass, praising him, talking about the space, yada, yada, yada. That's great, whatever. Here's the issue, though, and what I think is problematic about this. Are we going to ignore the actual problems about how Rec Philly closed? I talked about this in December. I'm not going to go recount everything I had said. But are we going to ignore exactly what was the allegation surrounding Rec Philly when it closed? Some of the decisions it's made. And by the way, this piece, this fluff piece that he wrote that got published in Philly Mag, which I just want to be clear about, is that I'm going to say it because I can. I'm a free bitch, baby. I think it's interesting that white folks get a chance to fuck up in very epic ways and get to rewrite their narrative in the press. Like, I'm looking at what's going on with NOMO, that gun violence prevention organization. And let me be clear, I think NOMO Foundation definitely bit off more than it can chew. But I find it interesting that when these black-led organizations, for better or for worse, fuck up, there's no love letter they get the right to cover their asses in spite of their problems, right? They get shamed, rightfully so in some cases. In some cases, it's unfair. But they get shamed and they get the big old, you messed up, you did this, and it's this big old piece, right? Rec Philly has some problems, major problems. And a lot to what led to them closing, how they are going down. Will anybody write that story? Will anybody get a chance to do the deep dive? Will we see the rise and fall of Rec Philly? Will we hear about it in that way? These are the double standards. It also irks me how no one talks about what's going on with United Way in Philadelphia. Are we just going to keep that a secret? Because let's talk about it. Everybody always want to talk about, Ernest, you always talk about the black business. I oftentimes talk about black organizations because I'm black and they impact me directly. But let's be very clear. I could talk about white-led organizations all day. The funny thing is, y'all never hold them to the same account in the standards either. You always want to come at black journalists and what we're doing. But we don't talk about it, though. Where's the accountability feature, right? Will Tom's been mighty quiet. He didn't write the piece. Dave Silver wrote the piece, which is very telling within itself. Very telling. Because he got in my DMs on to step to me about what the fuck I was talking about. I was like, there's some issues. And I don't know if they ever get told. I don't know who's going to speak on it, who's going to cover whatever. But there's issues. There were issues there. And everybody, the way that investors were in my DMs telling me about how they knew about them being solvent for some time, that there was concerns in the summer. We're going to ignore the fact that they were trying to do that deal with Diddy in Miami, with the Rec Philly Miami that never happened. Like, are we going to ignore some of those issues? Okay, cool. Y'all forgot, I forgot. But y'all don't forget about NOMO. Y'all forget about all these other black organizations that didn't have their problems. See, I'm an equal opportunity critic. I will talk about all the issues that and how they need to be addressed. I just want y'all to keep that same energy. Because the way y'all letting Dave Silver and them slide right now, like y'all don't remember what was going on when they just shut them doors and fucked over a lot of those people, those workers. Okay. Guess we gonna forget about it. Guess we when we like the people, we let them slide. God. Just want y'all to know that I see how fake y'all are. Because y'all the same people that will come in my DMs and tell me about somebody else's shit. But I guess it's fun when y'all get the free office space or when y'all get the little video, when it's y'all homies. I see how y'all do. I get it. That's why that brings me to my Ask Ernest, but I just want to put that in perspective. I feel like that's what's happening with Uncle Nearest. I feel like Fawn is spending so much time skipping over some of the legitimate concerns being raised. And, she said it was a gag order at first and this, that. I get all that, but even afterwards, all of these little videos and responses, it's giving defensive-ness, but with swagger. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not my cup of tea. It's not the way I would respond, but what do I know? What do I know? What do I know? So that brings me into local politics. So where do I want to start? I think I'm going to save the congressional drama at the end. But I want to say some things real quick about ICE, okay? So the mayor is pivoting a lot on ICE. She's trying to play Southern amnesia with us about language. So Philadelphia does not identify as a sanctuary city. She does not identify Philadelphia as a sanctuary city. She says Philadelphia is a welcoming city. There they go with them semantics. Philadelphia is a welcoming city, is what she says. She does not say sanctuary city. She says welcoming city. That has been the rhetoric she's been using for quite some time. Philadelphia is a welcoming city, is what she uses. She does not say sanctuary city. And recently, she had a press conference that was very public, and she was talking about it when she confronted Claudia Vargas of NBC 10, and, was trying to be really firm on this. And yeah, it was very interesting to see that discourse and that back and forth between them. That being said, Council President Kenyatta Johnson has begun to shift his tone and how he feels about this topic. He is saying that, he is working with the activist branch within city council, that he do think that there should be more bolder stances and that they should say more around the Trump administration. And he's shifting away from the Parker administration. I think this is a lot to do with his overall brand restructuring, because I think a lot of people have framed him, rightfully so, as kind of being like the little lapdog to the mayor. And I think he is now beginning to shift. And I wonder who's in his ear. I wonder if this is his mentor, the godfather, the political godfather, I call him, State Senator Anthony Hardy Williams, who I have a good relationship with, and he's a great guy. I like him a lot. I wonder if he's telling him, hey, you gotta do it differently, brother. You gotta have to move a little differently on this. And I wonder if that's shaping the way that he's moving on this topic. Because I have noticed that his whole swag has been a little different as well. So I wonder if it's being influenced by what's been going on lately, connected to all this. Just curious. Just a curious thought in my mind. So that definitely crossed my mind recently. I was like, I wonder what this is about. But yeah, there is some shifts in language. I also want to talk a little bit about row offices. Tracy Gordon, who was the Register of Wills, she lost her reelection, of course, but the city is still paying $900,000 in settlements and lawsuits. I think they said upwards, connected to her behavior when she was there. Settlements to employees that was being terminated, fired for not donating to her campaign, all kind of bullshit. Now, Tracy talked all that shit about how much she was going to be different. Got in that seat and basically was everything that is wrong with Philadelphia politics. Showed her whole ass when she got in that damn seat. Only stayed for one term. Ran against the establishment, got the seat, and was a mess in it for those 4 years. And lost the seat and got moved right out. Went in there, got a piece of some political power, and lost her damn mind. I think we need to do away with row offices. I really do. Because people argue that row offices, and if you don't know what a row office is, it is offices like the sheriff's office, the register of wills, the city commissioners, the city controller. Okay? These are 4-year terms, but these offices manage in property foreclosures, marriage licenses, real estate, estate records, separate from the mayor's administration. They do, the city controller conducts financial audits, investigates city finances. The sheriff's office manages court security, transports prisoners, and handles real estate foreclosures. The city commissioners are responsible for running and monitoring local elections. And then the Register of Wills office handles probate of wills, issues marriage licenses, and acts as an agent for inheritance taxes. Some of these jobs, y'all, I feel like can be like we could have a separate agency to do this. It shouldn't be an elected political office. Like, we need these functions, but I feel like we could have like an outside agent or a city office that do this, that does not have to be an elected political office. Because I feel like that's why political corruption can become ripe. There's just a lot of abuse of authority. And honestly, people have said it. Like, this is a situation where the Democratic machine, the party, uses these offices to put their family members and committee people and different folks in these particular offices as cash grabs of people that do things for them. It's like a little spot where they put them in there. A lot of people that work for these offices are connected to ward leaders, committee people, and people like that. It's not that many regular people that work in that office. It has been socially accepted in our very eyes. So, I just want to mention that. Now, some drama going on with these congressional races, because this is something that a lot of people have been talking about, and I've been monitoring very carefully. I'm going to say this here. I'm going to say this here on this show. This is an Ernestly Speaking exclusive. But I'm going to say this here on this show right here, right now. I think that Chris Rabb's going to either drop out this race or this race is going to end in catastrophe for him. It just came out recently. So this upcoming week, I'm going to tell y'all right now. I'm going to lay it out. Chris Rabb was supposed to have a massive victory of wins. I want to say victory as in election. We don't know that, okay? But what was supposed to happen, he was set up to have one of the best weeks ever this upcoming week. But now it's clouded in confusion. And what I mean by that is that this week, this upcoming week, he was supposed to get endorsed by the Working Families Party. A bunch of progressives were supposed to get behind him and endorse him. They still might do this, okay? But there was supposed to be a groundswell of progressives that was going to come out and endorse him. And he was supposed to have a massive rollout. Okay? Okay. Well, there's trouble in paradise for Chris Rabb right now, because it has come out that there's been an unsubstantiated number of money that was stolen from him from somebody who worked on his campaign finances. This person is based in Florida. Apparently, this person has a history of doing this elsewhere and had already been in trouble with it. Rabb has not speculated why the money's missing or what's going on with the money. He has not disclosed how much money is gone publicly to the press. But there's been money, his campaign money has been tied up in this problem. The campaign money has been taken. He does not have any money. He's been robbed dry, from what I've heard from close sources connected to this. He has not told public this because he wants to continue to push through with the election. He does not want to suspend his campaign. But from what I've heard from close sources, he barely has any money in that damn account. He cannot pay staff. He is fucked, okay? Last week, before the story dropped on Friday, okay, I had heard from sources that he had a meeting with his stakeholders, WFP, Working Families Party. Some of their team, right, their staff, their team provides campaign assistance to Rabb. But there's also money that he has for his own, internal team. These are people he hired to do volunteer and other work, right? There's no money to move with, apparently. This has hurt his campaign. He was doing pretty good. And I knew something was weird because when I saw his campaign finance reports, I was surprised that it was so little in that account. Because for somebody who has so much money, why was the cash on hand very low? I knew something was weird. I couldn't put my finger on it. I said, maybe he's buying stuff, but I thought it was too early. And now it's come out that, according to the Inquirer reported on this, but now it's come out that the money's missing. Now, what I'm telling you is that he don't have any money, really, okay? That's the nightmare. He basically had a call, allegedly. I'm not even going to say allegedly. Well, allegedly, because I wasn't on the call. But sources close to that campaign has told me that he had a call earlier in the week before the story came out where he told his supporters that he wants all hands on deck. He's still going to fight the fight. He still believes in it. Apparently, Congress is where Rabb wants to be. In spite of all the whispers around who wants to run for mayor, Rabb has no aspirations of running against Sherrell Parker for mayor. Neither does District Attorney Larry Krasner. He doesn't want to do it either, y'all. We need to come to terms with the fact that there's a strong chance that Sherrell Parker will be reelected as mayor. I don't think anybody wants to run against her. I don't think that's going to happen. Somebody might, but it might not be a very strong opponent, okay? So we need to come with that reality and accept those terms and move on, okay? So That being said, there's a lot of people that is at the edge, still trying to figure out what's next, still trying to grapple with this reality. Okay. Yeah. I think, I think that, that's a situation that we got to monitor. But that being said, he really wanted Congress. And this is crushing him. And I'm actually worried about him. I hope he's okay. I hope he's mentally and emotionally okay. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good. And Working Families Party is in this tough kerfunkle because now donors are like, are we giving to a campaign that is not winning? It's a wrap. I think we're down to 3 people now. I'm going to call it early. I think Chris Rabb's race is not happening. He can still run, but I don't know if he has a really good chance of winning at this. I think it's dead on arrival, to be honest, at this point. No money, you can't play. Unless there's some miracle, somebody drops 90,000 and give him, or he takes some money out of his own account. I don't see how he's going to make it work. It's not looking good. It's not looking good for him. Now, moving along to the next person. Morgan Cephas, State Representative Morgan Cephas. She has decided that she's going to run for re-election as state rep while also running this congressional race. I gotta say, strategically, this does not look good. I had heard speculation from close people in my circle that Rab was not going to run for state rep because he's going to put all his energy into Congress. Now that it looks like his congressional race might be in jeopardy and his outcome might be, there is $1 million question of whether or not he might still try to run for Harrisburg, like if he's going to run for state rep again. A lot of his colleagues do not want him to go back to the House. They say he's insufferable. They have a bad relationship with him. A lot of them have said that he's difficult. He just doesn't seem to be happy. And they really wanted Congress to be his sunset. Well, now that he may not have a chance in the state office, there might be, in Congress, maybe that the likelihood is there. Will he run for state rep is up for grabs or question. I had the impression that he wasn't going to do that because he was going to put all his hat in for Congress. But he still wants to fight the good fight for Congress. He does not want to suspend his campaign. Everything seems to be up in the air with that. Now, back to Morgan Cephas. I have heard from some people within Harrisburg that they're very annoyed and frustrated with her for running for re-election for state rep. A lot of people feel like her congressional race is a wrap and she should drop out. They say that they feel like it's only a matter of time before she drops out. They don't see a pathway of victory for her. People are saying that the momentum has dawned. She seems not to be really trying to talk about Congress as much. There was a strong showing out for her state rep show out, but a lot of people are very much kind of not feeling the momentum. She rolled out some endorsements this week for Congress. I gotta say, I wasn't that impressed with the endorsements personally. Knowing Morgan, knowing who supports her, a lot of people that showed up and supported her, I felt like were people that already supported her. Jason Dawkins, not surprised about that. I'm gonna leave it there. Curtis Jones Jr., not surprised about Curtis Jones endorsing her. There was no one really surprising in that lineup. There was no one that had me going, oh my goodness. I think the only people that got me shocked was when Ayla got endorsed by Dwight Evans. That was a big moment when the former congressman endorsed her. That was a moment where I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That was a big mouth dropper. But these endorsements that I saw, I just don't find them to be that strong. But one thing that came up into question was that she got endorsed by the 4th Ward, which is a ward that is a closed ward. That is Curtis Jones' ward. Interesting enough, after that Candace forum that I did not end up doing, moderating, the next day she got endorsed by the 4th Ward. First of all, was they ever going to endorse anyone else? What was the point of that ward even having the Candace forum? We all kind of knew Morgan was going to get it. I just feel like it just seems a little fake, a little cheesy. That was just manufactured to me. And I just felt like if they wanted to support her, just support her. I don't know why they wanted to make it seem like there was going to be this process, because it wasn't. But what's also concerning to me about it is that ward is a closed ward. Closed wards do not get to make individual endorsements that defy what the party does. Normally the political machine do. The fourth ward is not a closed ward. I mean, not an open ward to my knowledge. So I don't understand how they was able to make an endorsement that was different from what the party endorsed. Nasty work. Also too, because I'm following this, some of the other critiques around Morgan Cephas is that they found it to be a little bit hypocritical. Close sources told me that her maintaining her chair seat or part of the Philadelphia delegate, she's the Philadelphia chair. There's a Philadelphia caucus of delegates, a delegation. She's the chair. A lot of people said that she was whispering about Sharif Street stepping down as chairman for the Pennsylvania Democratic Party, which he did and he should have. But people felt like, well, Morgan, shouldn't you do the same given that you're running for the seat? And there was chatter at first that she was going to do that. There were people who told me that they were being, I guess, groomed to potentially take certain seats that she wasn't occupying. And then suddenly it got quiet. It got crickets. And so they find it that she's not taking no skin out the game. Whereas Rab might be giving up his state rep seat to go in for Congress, Sharif Street is giving up some skin in the game, right? Ayla's giving some personal money. What is Morgan Cephas giving up to run for Congress? It seems very safe, which makes me feel like she's not fully invested in running for Congress. It seems like it might be an afterthought. Ballot and petitions go out on Mr. Johnson's birthday, Tuesday, February 17th, okay? All I'm saying is play close attention between now and early March to see how this plays out. They got 21 days. That's around March 6th. Let's see how this plays out. But I don't think she's going to stay in this race. It's getting real serious. And the number one reason why I'm thinking this race is getting tight, Sharif Street, okay, State Senator Sharif Street has clinched the Democratic nomination from Philadelphia Democratic Party. He has clinched the city nomination, Democratic Party nomination. That's a big damn deal. That's a big damn deal. The best thing that the Philadelphia Democratic Party could have did was keep this an open race. Given that you have some incumbents in this race, given that you got some people that people like, what the best thing that everybody should have hoped for was an open primary, that they would have made it an open primary because it was an open seat. The fact that the Philadelphia Democratic Party, the Democratic City Committee, okay, decides to make an endorsement in an open primary for that congressional seat is a big fucking deal. I don't want to call it, but I think it is safe to say that Sharif Street is the front runner for this congressional race. I'm not saying it's his race. I'm not saying it's a lock-in. Because as you can see, anything can happen. If you would have asked me, I would have thought maybe a couple weeks ago, Rab had a shot of going toe-to-toe with him. Now I gotta say, is Dr. Ayla Stanford in Sharif's race? I don't know about Morgan. I just don't feel like Morgan is putting in the fight. Lovely lady. I know her. Sweet woman. Great state representative, right? But as a congressional candidate, I just feel like she's getting a little weaker in comparison to what Sharif is bringing to the table. Dr. Ayla Stanford, I don't think she's that strong. But I will say the money is giving her a good fight. And I will say that she does have, as a black woman in the race, I will say she's the strongest black woman in the race. I feel like she is the alternative. In most of the conversations I've been hearing for the past couple of weeks, I've been consistently hearing Sharif Stanford. Sharif Stanford. That's what I've been hearing. I've heard a little bit of Rab, but not much. And now that there's no money, I feel like the progressive movement might just stay out this race all in all. It was already a little contentious because there are some progressives I know that like they like Sharif Street. I cannot imagine the relationship between Krasner and Sharif Street. I cannot imagine that Krasner would have endorsed Chris Rab. I feel like Krasner would have just stayed out of it. There's other people that might be coming and getting behind Sharif Street. Do not assume that all the progressives are behind Rab. And now this has come up. Pay close attention to what these next coming endorsements are going to look like. All I'm saying is, y'all, stay woke. Now, with this week's Ask Ernest, I don't know how to describe this, but I am going to have to name some names because I think it's time. I think it's time. One of the things that I get annoyed with sometimes is how people like to hold me to a double standard that they don't hold other people to. And what I mean by that is that recently, and I'm going to name some names, and there's no shade, no shade, no shade, no shade, but I got to say this because I do feel like I'm oftentimes held to a double standard that is not often my own. And what I mean by this is that I have seen a lot of people, come up to me and go, "Oh, Ernest, this, that, and the third, blase, blase." Everybody want to come to me with some opinions or whatever. That's cool. That's fine. It's fine. It's cool. You can say, listen, all the things, okay? But I have found myself in situations where people will hold me to these double standards. And while I understand them, I just oftentimes look at myself and go, well, damn, what's good for the geese ain't good for the gander. So what I mean by this is that I look at people where I see people like Solomon Jones, right? Solomon Jones, can be lauded as he should for his work. He doesn't care much for me. The feelings are mutual. But I can respect his contributions to media. Personally, night and day. The man has never really had anything nice to say about me. I'm not going to call him a hater, but he's a hater. He doesn't have the nicest thing to say about me. And he's always been that way. And some of it is borderline homophobic. I'll say it. I've been in a room where this man has said something homophobic around me, and I find it to be homophobic. And I can own that. I will own that even on his show, he has said things that are homophobic. He may not think they're homophobic because what person will? But he does not have. This is a man, because I can name the date and location and time. This is a man who has said that he thinks that television shows are forcing homosexuality in young people. Gross, disgusting, very inaccurate, mind you. I can say more things, but I've been in a space where this man has been homophobic, and he does not care much for me, and I don't care much for him, and yeah. Y'all gonna listen. The more you listen to this show, the more you realize how my battle in trying to be a young Black queer journalist in this city was fraught not only by racism, but by homophobia, ageism, paternalism from people that look like me. I'll just say that. I keep it professional, but I'm never going to lie. I'm not. And there's people who tolerate that homophobia. There are certain people, leaders and folks that tolerate people like that because I guess they bring in the dollars. I guess they bring in the ratings. I guess they bring in whatever. But I just want to say that there's a lot of shit that I see people do, and it makes me not be hard on myself about what I choose not to do and what I choose not to say. I get held to a higher standard, and I know why, because I'm excellent, right? I get that. But sometimes people will demand me to do more and go above and beyond the above and beyond. But I see what y'all accept elsewhere. And I'm not saying that I need to be, I'm not saying that I shouldn't be great in my own right. Oh, absolutely. I should always be striving for a higher sense of purpose and being. Absolutely. However, what I've learned, what I'm not going to do, is I'm not going to run myself raggedy in this damn city when I see the mediocrity that y'all accept, when I see the double standards, right? So people say, oh, Ernest, are you an activist or a journalist? Because first of all, journalism is an act of activism, to be honest. But we'll have that conversation for another day. But you'll say to me, oh, you might be biased or you might be this. How many times do y'all see Simon Jones at marches and protests and things? It's funny because these are the same people, these are the same old heads that criticize progressives for protesting hitting the streets. But it's okay for y'all to hit the streets over these panels. Which brings me to this interview I just did recently with Word. I was not on air. I was on air as a guest of my own show because I couldn't be at the station. But Joanne Bell had a special show. It was myself. It was a couple of other folks in the community that was on this episode that y'all really should listen to. And we were talking about intergenerational differences in Black spaces around this time. And one of the things that Joanne Bell said was that we are doing a disservice to young people. We need to set a better example for them. She was talking about older people. And I really appreciated what she was saying. That I really appreciated. She said specifically was that, quote, we owe them so much more. And she was responding to older people and how much they owe us younger people so much more in these conversations around activism, these issues. And I was like, damn, she's so real for that. Because Solomon goes up there, right? Michael Kort, other folks. And this is about those panels, those slavery panels that was taken out of Independence Hall. The city is suing, okay? The city is suing. But there was a legal expert that was on my show that y'all listened to, and he said that he doesn't even know if we'll win that lawsuit with the Trump administration because for several reasons. One, he says, we don't actually own the panels, that we actually sold the intellectual property rights of the panels in this transaction, that we don't actually own those panels that got taken down. So there's a strong chance that we might not get them back because we don't actually own them. There's also this agreement that we supposed to have had, quote unquote, with the government back in the Obama era, right? That wasn't an actual legally binding agreement. It was understanding, but it wasn't actually anything that was legally pending. So this lawsuit, some of the levels to which the lawsuit is being sold is it's causing, one of the points is about distress to the Black community. It's been over a month. They're going to have a hard time. The legal team's going to have a hard time explaining that distress to the Black community. Like, it's not going to stand in a court of law, basically. So this legal expert was saying that pretty much there's a strong chance we're not going to win that lawsuit. And then what's going to be happening is it's going to go to another court, right? And then it's going to end up having to advance to the Supreme Court. But by then, all the time that was wasted over something like this, we won't get those panels up. Which begs the question of, do those panels need to go? Where do those panels should go? My mindset is we should recreate the panels and put them in the Black Museum, the African American Museum of Philadelphia. Put them in a Black space. But this is the generational divide that I'm having. And again, it goes with this Ask Ernest, what I'm noticing. I feel like the older generations are their sense of Black excellence is rooted in white antagonism. Like, and I know that's a very provocative thing to say, but let me break this down. There is a generation of Black people that are much older than myself, but it's our parents, it's the Gen Xers, it's the boomers, where their whole identity around their Black excellence is doing things better than white people or achieving the same things that white people have. Their Black excellence is within a gaze of whiteness. It's, I'm the only Black person to do this. I'm the first Black person to do this. I, beat this white person in this marathon. It was so many white people that applied for this job, and I was the one they picked. Look at my black art in a white museum. Look at me getting this, being a black person, win this thing in this white space. They don't like to see this. They got that. They this, they that. It's all about fucking they as in white people. And so the way in which they view their whole identity as black success is coming in contrast to whiteness. And while I understand how intoxicating and suffocating that shit can feel, let me be very clear that our survival is in resistance against white supremacy and whiteness. But that is not our thriving and our excellence. It doesn't come from our survival of them. It comes from something different, actually. And so resisting white people is not my excellence. It's my mode of survival. It's what I have to fucking do. I have to resist white supremacy to live. But that's not excellence to me. That's not what I was born here to just do. Piss white people off. Avenge them. That's my purpose in life, is to beat white people at things. Why? Are they the standard? Were they the goal? That's not what I thought. But an older generation of black people, because of their experiences with Jim Crow, racism, and their experiences with a lot of those segregation, so much of their life was to overcome a lot of those things. And we still have to, right? The work is not done. But that is not the identity of us as a people. And so I operate in this space. The older I get, the more this makes more sense to me. Is what is the other generation? I think Gen Zers and millennials are trying to figure out and reimagine, what does black excellence look like in a sense, in a space of us tapping into our own joy, liberation within ourselves? What does it look like to live in a universe where your ambition is not centered around whiteness, right? We know that the surviving does, right? Because we can't, if you're an American, there's no way you can ignore white people in that context. But when you pursue joy, when you pursue pleasure, when you pursue desirability, can you imagine a world where it does not center around whiteness? And for some people, that does not exist. Like, I love the fact that I have black love. I love that I'm married to a black man. I love that I live in a space where I will say that most of my life, to be honest, my sexuality, my attraction, what makes me feel good was never centered around white people's aesthetic. The aesthetics of not being curvy, the aesthetics of talking with a certain type of accent, talking with a certain thing. My taste in music and things was not centered around what white people would desire, but what I fucking desire, and what people that look like me desire. Like, I'm breaking this down because I think this is very important for people to understand. We live in a world where black people don't even have their desirability, what they personally pleasure sexually, is being defined under a white gaze. Like, for example, like the way that they dress and talk and present themselves, they're working on attractiveness that a white person would be attracted to. Their default is what a white person might find to be attractive. I'm so happy that when it comes to the pleasure principle of my life, it's always been under a black gaze. Like, I won't get into details, but I just love the fact that my pleasure and my sexuality and my understanding of my queerness has always been under a black lens. And we can all get there if we give a fuck about dismantling that in our own sense of joy and liberation. Like, my black sense of success is not modeled after me trying to affront white people. It always annoys me when I win something or I get an award or I do something well, and then somebody has to tell me, oh, they're not gonna like this. You gonna make them mad with this. I'm not give a fuck about whether I make white people mad. I really don't give a fuck about whether white people like it or don't like it. My life does not center in that as much as I can. Like, there are black people who are just fucking great to be fucking great. They don't care about whether or not white people see them or don't see them. They don't care whether they get the awards or not. I gave that up a long time ago. I'm always working on it. There's always those distractions. No one's perfect. But I actively work every day to remind myself of who I am and that I am good enough and I'm beautiful and I'm successful and I'm talented and that my excellence is not defined by their standards of what professionalism looks like and all the other bullshit. Like, that I am a journalist and that my journalism matters the way it is being presented. And I don't have to do these benchmarks that they set forth to define my fucking success. And I learned that many years ago. I think the pandemic really put that in perspective for me, because when I start realizing how many of these people are mediocre as shit and horrible as fuck, and how the game is rigged to suit their personal tastes, I would have to shred myself and reduce myself thin in order to get there. I don't want to do that. When I was younger, I did that because that's all I knew. But when you get older and you read books and you get educated and you start getting more informed, you hang around some different people, you start to wake up. And once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. So that's how I have reimagined this for myself. And I want more people to think like that. And so I bring this back to this protest and these conversations. Rather than us continue to fight this dumbass argument about putting our black stuff on the Independence Mall, I'm tired. If those white people don't want the shit there, fuck y'all. Let's put our shit in a black museum. Let's put our shit there. Listen, it can be there if it wants to be there. If it don't, it should not be over. Our energy should not only be focused on when white people take our stuff down. We should have been putting that history in other black museums, regardless of whether or not it was the Independence Mall. And so that's my mindset. Like, I'm in a space where I work with everybody, but I bow to no one. That's what Westmore said, okay? I will work with anyone. I will talk with anyone, okay? But I will bow to no one. And I think that's the mindset I want more black people to get as being Black History Month, is that we can all work together in harmony. We can. But what we cannot do is just bow. And that's too much bowing. And like she said, we owe them so much more. Gen Xers and boomers, you owe my generation and the one after me so much more than what you're giving. Because this leadership, quote unquote, that you all act like y'all are giving, it is not leadership. It is capitulation. And quite frankly, it is sad to fucking watch. I just had to say that. I just had to get that off my chest. It needed to be said, y'all. And I was the one that was going to say it. So, movies. Wuthering Heights. A lot of people are talking about this movie, Wuthering Heights. I told y'all that it was going to be a complicated movie. A lot of people were going to have different opinions about it. I told y'all I like it, but I know it's not everybody's yam. But that Emerald Fennell, she gonna one thing she gonna do is give y'all some controversy. It got number one at the box office. It got $31 million in ticket sales for the first 3 days. Not bad for a movie like that. It can get to $40 million by President's Day weekend, apparently. It got $82 million globally. But not bad for a movie like that. I mean, it is not, of course, 50 Shades of Grey. But reason why I think it is special is because it is an interesting film that has really showed up and showed out. You know? It's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, Wuthering Heights came in at number one. I think people just need to let go and enjoy it for what it's giving. You know what I mean? Like, I think people need to enjoy the film for, what it's, for it being a reimagined version, That's how I feel about it. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I'll give it that. Now, with music, because I want to bring this together, Wuthering Heights, that soundtrack with Charlie XCX, baby, I've been playing it. Now, I love Charlie XCX. Me and Jamarcus, that is like our shared fave. We love Charlie XCX. We just enjoy her. I love her. Even my husband likes her. I think all three of us like Charlie XCX. He's a big fan of her too. We really was into the Brat era. I don't know. Brat era had us in a strangle. I ain't gonna hold you. Brat era had us in a strangle, okay? I really did like Brat era a lot. But this Wuthering Heights soundtrack is basically Charli XCX's music. But she does a 180. It's not Brat, but it's still good. I really enjoyed the soundtrack. And maybe that's why I like the movie, because of the soundtrack. Both go hand in hand with each other. So maybe that's why. But I need to take some time to talk about Cardi B. The Little Miss Drama Tour, which I have tickets for. I'm going to see her in April. I got a little bit of watch. I'm not trying to watch all these videos. Stop sending me these videos. I'm not trying to watch these videos. Y'all not going to make me... No, I'm not watching them. I've seen a little bit of some chair action, but that's about it. Y'all not going to make me cheat on this show. I want to see it. I know it's going to be perfected. Dr. Parks and I are going. Jamarcus is going. Mr. Johnson, all my people. We are going to see her in April, okay? But her and Stefan Diggs. If her and Stefan are not together, I am so happy. I do not want to hear about this Offset giving her balloon shit. We don't know if it's true or not. Leave that alone. I want her to get the fuck away from Stefan Diggs. Now, y'all know last year when she was with him, I told y'all I was not a fan of this relationship. I shut up. I minded my business. Now that it looks like they're not together anymore, girl, good. Take that energy. First of all, the timing couldn't be better. He loses the Patriots game. He gets brought onto trial for that strangling case, and then she starts her tour the same week. This is the timing of all this just seems a little bit of commercial. I ain't gonna hold you. Part of me kind of feels like this is a little... I mean, she does have a baby by him, so I guess there is some legitimacy there. But I feel like a lot of this is just too... The plot for this feels like a soap opera. A little bit. I'm not gonna be a conspiracy theorist, but it feels a little bit like a soap opera. A little bit, like a little bit of conspiracy in me that's like, Moving along. I enjoyed this show on FX. Okay, it's called Love Story. Yes, we got another one. Okay, this Love Story with the JFK Jr. JFK Jr. That's the one who died in a plane crash. It is about JFK and Carolyn Bessette. The ones who got into the... It's got a good cast. I'm really following the show. Naomi Watts. She's trying to do her big one. Grace Gummer's in it. Now, y'all trying to figure out who Grace Gummer is. That is Meryl Streep's daughter. Okay? She's in it too. All right? Naomi Watts is in it. The show is picking up. Okay? I'm really into this show. Okay? I'm not going to hold you. Sarah Pigeon is playing Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, which is the wife of JF Kennedy Jr. Paul Anthony Kelly. These are some not famous actors. But Naomi Watts is playing Jackie O, which is very interesting. And then Grace Gummer is playing his older sister, Caroline Kennedy. This is Meryl Streep's sister. It's not sister, daughter. The last name Gummer. You're like, who was Gummer? Gummer is Don Gummer, Meryl Streep's ex-husband. I know, shocker, right? I know. But Grace Gummer is interesting. She only been married for a year. Now she's married to Mark Ronson. Now this is messy. She was married to Trey Stratharam. She got married in 2019, divorced him in 2020, and then got married to Mark Ronson. So Meryl Streep, I don't know if y'all know this, but Mark Ronson is the son-in-law of Meryl Streep. Listen, that's some rich Hollywood shit. I live for it, okay? I live for these Hollywood interwoven relationships. But I say all this to say that this is a very interesting dynamic. We're going to be staying tuned, glued to our tubes to watch it. But I've been watching it, It is must see TV. Y'all gotta get into it, okay? But yeah, that is everything. I've been watching some Love Cabin reunions, watching the audition for Bad Boys Going Wild. Not Bad Boys. Is it Bad Boys Going Wild? Baddies, Bad Boys. Yeah, Bad Boys on Zeus, and then Baddies Going Wild. Yes, my Ratchet TV era, reunion era is on. I'm watching it. Judge your cat. But I'm looking forward to this week. Birthday Bliss for Mr. Johnson. Might catch me a good musical. Excited. I'll let y'all know about it. It's a Tell As Old As Time, a song as old as rhyme, you know the rest. Gonna see that this week as a more birthday surprise for Mr. Johnson, but it's gonna be a good time. So yeah, this has been quite the show. But, I want to tell you, flu season's still out here. Hand sanitize, people still getting sick. Wash your hands and your neck. And as always, be well and be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.